My internal legacy spiceometer is often dictated by how many cards do I need to look up? Oh, I do not know these avatar cards. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another legacy video, and I'm going to use a dealer's choice donation deck list from Alan today to show off something kind of spicy. So Alan, thank you very much for supporting the channel. This deck had a ton of avatar cards in it. This was in the 5.0 Legacy deck list dumps recently, and I've only made one change to it. I took 2 Wastelands out of the deck for 2 colored mana sources. I'm not going to name any names, but there have been a couple of videos recently where the meta has been rough, and I just want to play mana today. I want to cast my spells. My spells are kind of cool. So, this is a lot of nonsense that you are used to seeing in Legacy, because blinking out or otherwise cheating Quantum Riddler, and to a much, much lesser extent, Starfield Shepherd, has proven to be pretty darn good, even by the high bar that Legacy has to get over for things to be playable. And this deck used a bunch of cards that I haven't really seen in action in Legacy specifically. The first is Momo Friendly Flyer, which is weird, but it kind of does some niche things that are neat within this deck. 1/1 Flyer. The first non-lemur creature spell with flying you cast during each one of your turns costs 1 less to cast. Whenever another creature you control with flying enters, Momo gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So this is a little bit of a weird card. The decks that look like this want to spam creatures that cost exactly 1 mana. So you can do something like open up on Guide of Souls on turn 1, then Ocelot Pride and Momo on turn 2, and you are off to the races. So just having another aggressive 1-drop to play is totally reasonable. But it also is something that makes your stuff cheaper. Well, what all has flying? Flying, and I'll loop back to you in a second. The warp spells, you guessed it, they both have flying. So in the context of this deck, it turns your warp things that normally cost 2 mana into warp things that cost 1 mana, which is kind of cool, and I'm into playing around with that interaction to see if it's powerful enough. And this deck also has Aang Swift Savior, which I don't think I have seen in Legacy, but I played a couple of cube drafts where this thing showed up and was kind of a menace. So flying, important, and flash, 2/3 body, which is okay. When Aang enters, airbend up to 1 other target creature or spell, and that means that you exile it. While it's exiled, its owner may pay 2 generic mana rather than paying its mana cost. So you can use that to kind of blink your own creatures when you are a little bit mana flooded, or you can use this to just say, all right, get your creature out of the way, crash in with Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride, Phelia, yada, 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 yada. And you can then like blink this with Phelia, reuse the trigger, and keep exiling your opponent's creatures, which is pretty cool. The deck also had curious farm animals, some absolutely questionable draft chaff that like might be passable here. So this is just a disenchant effect that you can search for with a Starfield Shepherd. So it's kind of a low cost, inefficient tutor bullet, which you can relatively consistently gain access to. As a 3 mana disenchant that destroys and not exiles, that's not good. But as something that is tutorable as you approach the mid to late game, maybe it's okay. One of the other things that was interesting about this list is that it is like very, very heavy on MDFCs. The blue count on this deck is relatively light, and having a bunch of copies of Sink into Stupor lets you have some extra lands and blue sources at the same time. I imagine that blue is going to be a little bit too difficult to cast as far as spells go, especially early in the game. And that's part of the reason I added an extra planes and a flooded strand into the deck list. Otherwise, I have left this untouched from the original 5.0 deck list. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump into a Legacy League here. Folks, if you need any Magic cards, please consider getting them from my sponsor, TOAMagic.com. I like those folks a lot. You can use my promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order, and you always get free shipping, even if you're just ordering one card. Maybe that one card's a Tabernacle. That has happened at least once. All right, let's battle. All right, opening hand is a little mana heavy here. I'm going to just hope that I don't draw a land on my first turn, and most creatures, I think, turn this from okay into quite good. Opponent says some kind words. We have a basic island on the other side of the battlefield. Ooh, don't mind that at all. Guide of Souls lives, that's a great thing to copy. I think I'm into a basic here, so I don't get wastelanded immediately. I'm not seeing Snow-Covered Island and going like, oh, that means wasteland or anything, but I would like to cast my Phelia on turn 2 in all likelihood. Fish. Wizard. You are a Sphinx. You're not a wizard at all. What is my opponent doing over there? My own Riddler? So I want to play Phelia this turn and then do Riddler Crimes next turn. 1 energy now doesn't change anything, so let's just crash in with Guide of Souls. 19. Then we'll pass. Second Snow-Covered Island, making it maybe less likely that this is something like Doomsday. I don't know, maybe it is Doomsday. That's this Phelia here. Like, that might just be us seeing a Cavern of Souls that exists for Doomsday piles versus Control. Another Guide of Souls. Hell yeah. I will go ahead and fetch. I don't think I'm worrying about basics anymore. There's the next Guide of Souls. Trigger the original Guide of Souls. Now I will go ahead and warp a Quantum Riddler. This feels like a reasonable thing to counter. This is going to be worth a card immediately, a card off of Phelia. All right, very nice. Let's just yield to all my energy abilities. Draw my card. Excellent. Send in with Punchies. Phelia blinks a Riddler. Guide of Souls, trigger, say yes. Let's make Phelia fly. Clear the stack. Hit my opponent for 5. The original warp trigger resolves, doing nothing. Quantum Riddler comes back. 2 more energy. Draw a card. All right. Haven't seen black lands yet for Doomsday type stuff. I've seen very little from my opponent. Show and Tell instead? Oh, okay. That makes sense. So Cavern of Souls was the tell for Thassa's Oracle. And I just got the supporting cast wrong. It was mono blue. Swords to Plowshare's not going to save me there. GG's, you've got that one. Was my opponent going to take 12 damage next turn? 5, 9, 10, 11. Guide of Souls trigger. Yeah. Yeah, so I would have had a turn 4 Goldfish, but my opponent won the die roll. Okay, Consign is totally reasonable here for Thassa's Oracle triggers. Might need Force of Negation. It's going to be very bad versus any sort of card advantage thing my opponent does, like Quantum Riddler and Tamiyo, but I might just need things to stop the Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, and the Paradigm Shift, Thought Lash type cards. And I get away without playing Swords to Plowshares. I bet I can. I still have, like, Sync, Aang, Phelia, Blink. Let's try to get away without doing this. I need you. Various farm animals, is this your time for Thought Lash? Or is the Thought Lash hitting play just enough to kill me in many cases? It might be enough to just beat me already. I would like to be faster than this. Let's mulligan. I have a bunch of 1-drops. That is technically a 1-drop. I don't think this hand does anything. Like, this hand can counter something, but Phelia with nothing to blink is not fantastic. Let's go to 5. Lean on Ocelot Pride. Yeah. So turn 1, maybe just Ocelot Pride. Turn 2, Momo and Mockingbird. Yes. I think I'm just fully going to treat this as I am the beatdown. Let's just do that one as the land here, and then pass. With my opponent's deck being base mono blue, I'm not really expecting much removal. Maybe I should just attack here. Yeah. All right, 19, fetch, Tundra, and this is an X equals 1 Mockingbird. Due to Momo. I copy Ocelot Pride, flying Ocelot Pride, so it triggers Momo. Then I get double Ocelot Pride triggers at end of turn. Maybe? All right, opponent is just going to straight up consign one of those triggers. Reasonable. I take that as I just need to use this mana for something so I don't die. That consign is worth 1 life per combat step that I have. Get in there. Yeah? That brings my opponent to 15. I will just basically accept any reasonable body. I'm real close to City's Blessing already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I would have City's Blessing now if my opponent left me with that token. Preordain. Very fast bottom. Cavernon Wizard. Warped Quantum Riddler. That's fine. And that'll go away. Wasteland is totally reasonable here. So that gives me the City's Blessing. I imagine means that I have lethal next turn. I haven't countered it, but feels like I do 9 pretty easily. So there's Cat Parade. Cat Parade continues. Now I will Wasteland that. Cavern of Souls. It was a mull to 5 on my end, I think. Went very, very, very well. Every mana that is not spent killing me here is devastating. All right, there's the concession. We just absolutely ran my opponent over. Roughly same speed as last time, right? Turn 4. Let's run it back. Okay, I think I keep this. I think I'm gonna believe in Momo making these warp costs cost 1. So like, I can play Momo on 1, and then Quantum Riddler warp for 1 mana on turn 2, and then consign? Sounds fucking sick. Get in there, Momo. This is very cute art. Although, honestly, it might just be better for me to play Phelia. Not sure. Because, like, the consign has a very, very, very real use in this matchup. And I do kind of want to hang on to it. Mockingbird. I'm gonna just play Phelia and be upset about it. Alright. I'll try to hang on to my consign. Because I think once I, like, resolve a Phelia and a Quantum Riddler, I don't need to tap mana for the rest of the game. There is a Thought Lash. Very scary card. So this is essentially Super Fog. Touch. There's Tundra and Phelia. Ocelot Pride. Is Sink into Stupor a land? I think it is, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and warp for our single mana. That is a Force of Will pitching a Riddler. That resolves. I think I do this again and hold up single consign versus double consign. First time! Momo, you have betrayed me. I'm gonna hold up double consign then. Back, trigger. I think I will just blink Momo here. This damage is not actually gonna happen anyway, so I think scaling Phelia up matters. Alright, yep. You're just going to always yield the Thought Lash. Now Momo comes back. Guess I should passively keep an eye about, like, what ends up going to exile. Next land drop is a Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. No, it's not a triggered ability or colorless spell. That. So now my opponent can just put this activation onto the stack and then activate Thought Lash a gajillion D times. And consign does not stop this. I'm not going to make my opponent click through all of this. They've got it here. I will concede. I will say my deck absolutely did the thing in all 3 of those games. It wasn't quite enough here, but like I held up a very reasonable piece of interaction that stops some of my combo attempts, and it just didn't line up well. This is why I boarded in the Force of Negations, by the way, but we didn't have it here. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you're looking to store your decks online, you're not going to find a better website. It's super organized and easy to use, and I sort everything that I do into a ton of format-specific folders, and you can customize the way that you use Moxfield to your liking. Whether you like text views or visual views, of multiple different natures, Mox Field has it all. And it's so easy to use, you might even say that it's a snap. Alright, I think I'm going to continue to believe in Momo and keep a hand that is a little action light, but has a 1 mana warp into like Ocelot Pride or Guide of Souls. I don't want to see a Thoughtseize taking my Starfield Shepherd, though. That would kind of be a disaster. Don't do it. Oh, we're just getting like mono black reanimated. Yeah. Okay. Dead to that. Feels like I'm dead to that. That's a Grizzlebrand draw 14. Presumably also producing an Archon of Cruelty here. I'm not letting you know that I'm a blue deck. I think my opponent's 15 card hand handily wins from here. Let's board in whatever graveyard hate we have. Unlicensed Hearse, Fairy, and Containment Priest attacking from slightly different angles. That's totally reasonable. And like these are not shameful cards either. I don't know exactly what my opponent's pivot plan is going to be, but I imagine that there's going to be some number of Douthie, Voidwalker, Barrogoyf type aggressive creatures. Sometimes these mono black lists will get a little janky and do like Lake of the Dead to accelerate out large creatures as well. I think this is a time where I'm going to be trimming rather than fully cutting some things. Momo is probably expendable here. I can maybe trim a Mockingbird. Trim 2 Mockingbirds. Is that too much early game? That's cutting 4 1-drops. I don't know if that's correct. I 100% want to cut Momos. I maybe want to cut white cards over blue cards for Force of Will reasons. Like cut 2 Starfield Shepherds instead. Then I'm cutting 2 1-drops, 2 2-drops, replacing with a bunch of 2-drops and 1 free card. This is reasonable. I could go Force of Negation levels of hard as well. If I swing that hard towards combo, I might start having some trouble versus some of the juke stuff. No. Not into that. Okay. Caracas does some stuff here sometimes. I want to say that this is a keep. I think I will get rid of the third land. I would really like to curve into this, though. This is a lot of safety to hold up, especially with Caracas. Get rid of Quantum Riddler. Archive to kick off the game. Force of Will is fine. If my opponent uses a discard spell on me, they take Unlicensed Hearse, not Aang. And so if I lose Hearse to a discard spell, I still have Aang, Force of Will, backing up Phelia, Caracas. Random Surveil land. Does opponent get lucky? Negative. So I think with my Surveil land already in play, I'm just going to use this as a spell here. Not a spell. As a regular old land drop, hide Caracas for a little while. Play out Unlicensed Hearse now. Land drop 2. I'm going to pick away at your graveyard for Barrogoyf reasons and hopefully not get got by some sort of instant speed reanimator BS. Up Caracas and pass. Orcish Bowmasters. Sure. And this is the sort of expected creature pivot that I was expecting. I don't know. Anticipating. There's a synonym. I will absolutely be taking a nap after this league. I am lay tired. Block actual factual Bowmaster body. Kill that. Take a damage, which is not a big deal. Take the Bowmaster body out of the graveyard. I think this is just kind of a time where, well, I guess I can attack and blink this out. Not worry about growing my Phelia. There's 2. Throw down Guide of Souls. Last turn. Phelia trigger does not give my opponent their token back. Curse away this. Keep those graveyards nice and clear on the off chance that it ends up mattering. The Riddler. Don't mind this at all. Think into Stupor. Care about you as a land? I think I'm more interested in you as a blue card to pitch to Force of Will, honestly. Phelia blinks Riddler. And this means on future turns it's very easy for me to just use Aang. So Riddler trigger resolves. New Riddler trigger. Get that card. A lot of Phelia. And I imagine with this much pressure now, I don't really need to cast spells for the remainder of the game. Or 7, 8. Yeah, over 2 turns. This is just lethal already. Oh, I accidentally did not remove that. I was not expecting to do anything else that turn. I am fine warping that in. So that puts me up another energy, notably. I'll just pick up a basic planes there, I think. Drop that as my land drop for turn. Go to punchies. Everyone can party. Phelia blinks Starfield Shepherd. Yes, I'll pay some energy. This. And thinking about this for a quarter of a second, I just had a better line. I could have unlicensed Hearst, taken the Atraxa, blinked this to have it available for multiple activations effectively. Whoops. Oh, triggers again. Get an Ocelot Pride, I guess. All right. Easy win there, although I could have played tighter. GG. Now for the one where my opponent is on the play, I might want to just, like, slip these in, even though I know that my opponent has some amount of creature pivot plan. If I didn't already take Momo out of the deck, I would probably take Momo out of the deck in anticipation of Bowmasters. I just want to get rid of the other copies of Starfield Shepherd. They're not blue. I'm into it. I'm into it. I don't think it would be crazy to shave a land here either. This is unexciting. I'm worried that Thoughtseize take Force of Negation just kind of leaves me with nothing. Although maybe it does not make sense to mulligan anticipating discard. Let's keep it in hope that it works out. Sometimes my opponent plays a non-basic land that I can wasteland, although I expect that they have a lot of swamps. Verdant Catacombs? Maybe Wasteland is a reasonable cut in this matchup. Dark Ritual. I'm going to let that resolve and Force of Negation the thing that comes afterwards. It's just awkward if it is Thoughtseize, Entomb, Reanimate specifically. Collective Brutality. Yeah, I mean, that is not the exact thing that I was worried about, but that accomplishes it the same way, right? If the final card is Reanimate over there, my opponent does get it. If I Force of Negation, they get 2 of my cards. Whereas if I let this resolve, they only get Force of Negation. You've got it. All right, opponent goes up to 21 there, and it is the Reanimate. Super unfortunate. Grizzlebrand only gets to draw once. It does put my opponent to 8 cards in hand, though, meaning that they can discard another creature to hand size. Negative, they are just going to unmask me instead. Take my Riddler. That's now in graveyard for reanimation purposes. Top card of the deck was not Caracas. Unfortunate. So, Sink into Stupor could technically bounce a Grizzlebrand later. However, gaining 7, dealing 7, potentially drawing 7 as well. The rough combination of things. Alright, there's the draw 7. Another land drop. That's an unmask. Taking my bounce spell. Yeah, that's rough. I don't lose to the Bowmasters, but that Grizzlebrand, that's a problem. I think I'm just conceding if I miss on my draw, and I do miss on my draw. Yeah, I take 9 of my 11 damage if I play Aang and get Grizzlebrand out of play. I guess I'm still technically alive. Let's do a Surveil land in this turn cycle. I'll have to play this the following turn. Little points of burn like Collective Brutality and Orcish Bowmasters matter already. I'm down to 2. Opponent fetches. Oh, there's some blue in there. I get unmasked yet again. Okay. That'll do. Opponent got that one in impressive fashion. What is it? Collective Brutality lined up very well versus my hand. GG's. Alright, I am keeping my opening hand here. We have Momo and a couple of flyers as follow-up. That's perfectly fine by me. With this many lands, I think I'm going to start on a basic land. Get in there, Momo. Scalding Tarn? Another basic island. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Oh, ho. This is high tide, folks. We do not see a lot of that these days. I love it. I'll fetch a Tundra. I think I'm just going to go ahead and warp this for a single mana, getting a whole bunch of triggers. Yield to that. I think this gets Ocelot Pride. And I just want to goldfish here. High Tide has trouble killing on 3 mana. It is possible. It starts to get pretty easy at 4 and starts to become trivial at around 5. Oh, but opponent is not hitting land drops, so they might have 2 land drops, but without the payoffs, it's not actually all that bad. I'm going to like hyper aggressively thin lands out of my deck here, I think. So yeah, triggers, yeah, make a second Ocelot Pride, go to punchies, send on in, yes, do this here. That hits my opponent for 5. Then we do the Ocelot Pride thing. 5, 12 damage next turn. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 is pretty easy. All right, here we go. This needs to be Cloud of Fairies. Yep. So that untaps both of those. There's another High Tide. Notably, these are symmetrical. So that is a turnabout targeting themselves. That will untap their things. So I have a Swords to Plowshares. At some point, if my opponent does a snap on Cloud of Fairies, I can Swords and disrupt that. Another turnabout. That's up to 8 mana off 2 lands. That is Mind's Desire. All right. A Force of Will is live for Swords to Plowshares now. I think I am not responding for as long as possible because the storm count matters for things like Mind's Desire. All right, there's a land drop. That's a probably much needed shuffle. New Brainstorm. Opponent has 2 floating mana with 3 more queued up. That is another turnabout. They're going. Good old Ponder. Shuffle. 9 mana. That's another Mind's Desire. Storm of 11. All right, there's a lot of goodies over there. I think it is very likely that my opponent wins from here. I need a refresher on this Bay of Wishes exactly. I know it's a tutor. Non-creature card you own from outside the game. Got it. My opponent now gets 2 more untaps. 7 mana. Merchant Scroll. High Tide or Untapper? High Tide. New Merchant Scroll. Now this can be an Untapper. No. It is just another High Tide. My opponent would like to win this without using a Time Spiral if possible. I can go into counter spells, but they have Time Spiraled. Those are not good cards. Well, I mean, they're plenty good cards, but not in this situation. I can cast a Phelia, but that is very much not what this game is about right now. Are we not at... Okay, there's another Merchant Scroll, and we're just building Storm here. We're at the point where I like a Brain Freeze will just kill me. Is there no Cunning Wish line that just wins already? I feel like there should be. Another Lorien revealed. Dress Down is fine. Dress Down is fine. Actually, I guess my Synchronous Stupors are castable. But how much mana is Tundra producing? Don't think it's 6 to try twice on this. Returning to hand also just doesn't matter with that much mana floating. Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. Spicy. I think my opponent's got it from here through Sink into Stupor pretty cleanly. I think I'm going to go ahead and just concede and save the time. This is starting to get painful to click through. All right, Damping Sphere seems awesome here. It's a hate card that's not on a hate bear, so Dress Down does not mess with it. Force of Negation is fine. Consign on Storm Triggers seem fine. Since my opponent's playing main deck Dress Down, I think Snap is not a thing that I'm worrying about. Let's get rid of this. And we're kind of looking to go aggro here. Go down maybe 2 Starfield Shepherds. That seems reasonable. So this is turn 1 Momo, turn 2 have Aang available. I don't know that this hand is good. Like Mockingbird copying the Flyer, not exciting. I have 2 kind of counter spells. I think I want more pressure than this. Undra, Guide of Souls, land drop. This is reasonable. Let's do this. Takes me a little longer than I would like to assemble my aggression, but there's Guide of Souls. Basic Island, pass turn. Not unexpected here. Do some warping. Gain some life. I just want the land. No, I think I want my A plus B here. The land is plenty cool, but I would like to get Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride in play, and then hold up mana for the remainder of the game if possible. Wasteland is not exciting here. There's Ocelot Pride. Yield to that. Guide of Souls attack for 1. And begin the Kitty Cat Parade. I don't need to cast any spells for the remainder of the game. I still might cast some things, but this will win on its own, and it might just be safer for me to hold up multiple spells. That's a Merchant Scroll. I think I am not fighting yet. Turnabout, sure. Ponder, sure. Move to my turn. Don't mind the land drop at all. Send in with everybody. Say yes. Counters on Ocelot Pride. Alright, this is great. That is a high tide. I get to futz with 2 spells. Forcing my opponent to immediately recast this high tide might actively be good. So let's just say no to that. Making it cost 2 generic is really rough. Mystic Sanctuary. Merchant Scroll to top. I can wasteland that island on my next turn. Now I will surveil land. Fuck that. Return all non-creature, non-land permanents to their owner's hands. Wait, hold on. That doesn't do anything. Return all non-creature? These are all creatures. Opponent said, wait, I misread my own card, lol. First time. Yeah, I got real scared that I was about to lose all of my creatures. Oh no. That's rough. Oh, it's apparently opponent's first time trying High Tide. Well, good luck to you. It is a neat deck. Sink into Stupor? I'm just going to say yes to that. So, Wasteland, a Mystic Sanctuary, go to Punchies. Punchies for most of my opponent's life total. Make a cat. Have 2 counter spells up for the next turn. There's another land drop. That is a High Tide. Let's return that to your hand. Yeah. Okay, and that's good enough for the win. GG's. I don't know that I'm changing anything here. I'm very blue heavy for my Force of Wills and Force of Negations. I think I'm just calling this good. Witch Enchanter into Ocelot Pride, into maybe this as a land drop, into Phelia. I'm going to keep my hand. I don't think it's perfect or anything. A little heavy on lands that produce a single color of mana right now. I'll bolt myself. Get a cat. Land drop 2. End step play. End step dress down. You've got it. Resolves. Is dress down the one that doesn't work with Quantum Riddler? Believe it is. Yeah, I think beyond that, I just want to play Phelia here and keep this as a spell. I would really like blue land drops so this becomes castable. I'm not getting that right now. I think I'm just playing this as my land and hitting for 1. Get in there. I would very much like this to be castable. I just have this as a castable for next turn, and I can use this as a land if I have to. Ooh, tapped Mystic Sanctuary. Delicious. Never mind what I said about wanting to hardcast that. That's a Force of Will. Teferi's Realm. That phases out everything, right? Haven't seen one of those in a hot minute. I might Force of Will here. This represents so much more pressure. I need this land. I Force of Will, pitch Aang, get Quantum Riddler 2 turns in a row. Maybe I keep this. I think this is so much pressure that I just fight here. Opponent could fluster to continue the fight. They do not. There's Sync. Say yes. I am going to go ahead and do the Riddler and wasteland my opponent here. So draw. Gonna Stupor is cool. Snap Phelia. Well, I will respond by killing your Mystic Sanctuary, and I will be slightly sad. Thought I had ruled these out after seeing dress down from my opponent. Was wrong. Alright. I'd like a land. Negative. I will play this. Pay the life. Send in for 2. I have Aang held up for if my opponent doesn't do something scary. And if they do something scary, I think I said that wrong. I have Aang if they start to combo, and if they don't combo, I play Phelia, and I wasted a couple of life on a, what is this? Soporific Springs. Yeah, cool. There's new Phelia. Force of Negation is a great pickup. I'm not interested in tapping mana here, which I think means that I'm not doing anything with a Phelia trigger. And I just count on Ocelot Pride scaling here to do its thing. Is this lethal next turn with Aang? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No. You may cycle, play land, pass turn. Is Aang lethal with Guide of Souls Mockingbird? No. Yeah, also no. Okay. We hold. And sign as well. Tons of goodies here. Brings my opponent to 3. Pick up another cat. Not quite to the city's blessing. That's probably fine. All right, here we go. So let's attempt to Aang that. And the attempt works. We had Force of Negation to back it up as well. We have gotten the GGs from our opponent. Is this 2-1? No, we are 1-2. We have lost twice. Let's get some more wins with this. This deck actually feels pretty good. All right. Opening hand is good. Ocelot Pride, Guide of Souls, 2 lands, Phelia, Quantum Riddler, even a removal spell. I have a lot of flexibility here. What I don't have is anything to defend against bullshit like Oops All Spells. Wasteland, Chromox, Voice of Victory under there, Lotus Petal, sure, Trinisphere. All right, well, that is going to slow me down a lot. I would like another land drop, please. Specifically, either a fetch land or a basic land, so Wasteland doesn't set me back. Cavern on Human, Anointed Peacekeeper. That's annoying. That forces me to fetch. Otherwise, my opponent can name my fetch land. All right. I think in the face of Wasteland, like getting one of these 2 lands anyway, I just surveil land for land drops here. Nice. My opponent has named Swords. Trinisphere will keep me from playing a spell here. I'm going to need to draw 1 more land before I can cast a spell. You have initiative stuff too? Is that kind of the game plan? Yep. All right. That's not surprising. I think my opponent now wins with Swords being shut down by Anointed Peacekeeper. Take 3 here. 8 next turn. Okay, I did hit the land drop. Actually, this only kind of shuts down Swords, right? As Trinis, like, yeah, I take 10 this turn. I think my opponent put their counters on the wrong creature for removal purposes. I go down to 5, I remove this, I take 5. Yeah, I think you split the counters more evenly here. I guess I'm going to concede, but this is a good time to talk about some rules minutia that doesn't come up a lot anymore because Thalia doesn't see much play anymore. So additions and reductions happen before setting in terms of the steps of playing a spell. So this is why Swords to Plowshares costs 3 through Anointed Peacekeeper Trinisphere and not 5. All right. Removal spell in. I'm going to consider these for initiative triggers, and like they do stuff with Quantum Riddler anyway. Don't think I'm interested in any of the rest of this. Like this misses the creatures, which are the biggest deal. Assume Momo is cuttable. Mockingbird copying initiative creatures is cute. Aang airbending stuff out of the way is cute. Most of the rest of the cards that are here are reasonable. I think I'm going to just go down a couple of those. I don't mind having Momo and Starfield Shepherd in the deck, even though I've sideboarded both out in some numbers in a couple of rounds. It's medium? I think I'm going to keep it. I have Swords for if my opponent just shoves a creature. I have a ton of mana. I have Wasteland for if they just pass the turn after playing something like a Trinisphere. I don't think this is one of my better starts by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't think this is terrible. Rome Mox. Magus of the Moon is not surprising. Cavern. Opponent passes, then I can Wasteland that cavern. That's totally fine. All right. Yeah. And yeah. City of Traders. Blood Boil Sorcerer. Oh, we are heavy on initiative stuff. This might be a time where my opponent ends up losing to the initiative mechanic. Like I swords this out of the way, attack, take initiative. Opponent has a bad time. Swords, send in for 1. Now I am the pretty princess. I get a basic plains. I go land drop, fetch, tundra, mockingbird, copying Ocelot Pride. Now I have a flying creature to take the initiative back. Fury looking hot right now. 2 floating mana. Losing city. That's a Caves of Chaos Adventurer. See which way my opponent is leaning here. Scrying. Yep. Wouldn't mind a blue spell as just a tempo, or a blue land just for raw tempo here. Mockingbird. Bury my opponent in Ocelot Pride triggers. 1 mana Ocelot Pride, 2 mana Phelia is totally fine. Send on in. Yeah. I think I'm just forging. First strike on this Ocelot Pride is kind of stupid. I will Mockingbird. Copy an Ocelot Pride. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. Things were about to get very silly. Yeah, so I think I play Phelia. That's 9. The first cat token is 10, and then I get 3 Ocelot Pride doublings. Probably not losing from there. Does anything change if I know that my opponent is playing Blood Boil Sorcerer levels of shoving initiative? Like, does that make me want Momo as a 1/1 flyer that can attack and take the initiative? It legitimately might. Like, I'm not kidding. I think that is enough of a reason to take Starfield Shepherd out, despite Starfield Shepherd being card advantage later on. Yeah, this is fine. As turn 1 creature and 2 removal spells. And I don't just die to a yellowed Magus of the Moon. I have 3 lands for if Trinisphere happens. Although, I think it's somewhat likely that Trinisphere is not in the equation anymore. 3 mana. Anointed Peacekeeper. Sure. Opponent has named Solitude, turning that into a very inefficient removal spell. It means that I can Swords Anointed Peacekeeper. I don't know that I'm all that concerned about doing that. Is it better to just play Ocelot Pride this turn, Swords the next turn? Next turn is Swords plus Mockingbird, unless I have to Force of Will. Yeah. Let's get my own game plan going. Ooh, hate that. Seasoned Dungeoneer is resolving. Fetching Mountain. I will take at least 3 damage here. I will take 4 damage here. Opponent says no to Lotus Petal. Alright. That Cavern might have won my opponent this game. Guide of Souls. Now let my opponent keep their creatures for a turn to play Guide of Souls, Mockingbird, Ocelot Pride. Feels like no. I think I have to just take the initiative here. That's Swords, Anointed Peacekeeper, so Solitude is online. Play Tundra, play Guide of Souls, Solitude, pitch Witch Enchanter, Trigger, remove Seasoned Dungeoneer, gain some life, go to Punchies, attack for 1, take the initiative, get basic plains. This is turn 2. I've made my land drop. I have the initiative. I have Ocelot Pride plus Guide of Souls going. Seems good. My Force of Will probably is not a live spell. My Mockingbird is. All right. That was scary, but we got there. GG's. Wonder if my opponent can thread their initial Anointed Peacekeeper differently. Change the outcome. I don't know. With me having the initiative now and Mockingbird to follow this up, it feels like I'm in a great spot because I will just have like flying to take the initiative from here. Oof. Opening hand has 0 lands. Lots of cool spells, but that tends to happen when you don't have lands. The 6-card hand is still mana light. I think I'm going to keep it and hope that I get another mana source at this stage. If I miss, I could have Ocelot Pride, backed by Force of Will. I think that's fine. I'm going to... Aang pitches to Force of Will and lets me do Mockingbird potentially as a spell. I think I'll get rid of Starfield Shepherd. Just kind of relegate Aang as Force of Will fodder. Basic Plains. Nice art. Witch Enchanter. This probably means Phelia is coming. I don't mind that. I think that means I get a basic in the short term. Yeah. Here is my Ocelot Pride. And I'll pass. Oh, no Phelia. Ancient Tomb. I force a will, whatever the fuck this is. Come at me. Yeah. Absolutely not. Get out of here. Very nice. Oh. Oh. What a draw. Hit my opponent for 1. Wasteland you. Drop second Ocelot Pride. Trigger both. Have Mockingbird to get a third one the following turn. Absolutely disgusting. That land costs my opponent 3 life as well. Multiple Witch Enchanters and Ancient Tomb. Feels rough. Seems like my opponent is doing an initiative build that has 1 ring. What Touch the Spirit Realm indicates to me. I guess let's connect first. Yeah. Alright, down to 11. There's Mockingbird for a flying Ocelot Pride. We do this one more time. Are we still playing? A different nice land. So I still get to get in and take that. I probably attack with a bunch of cat tokens and the flying Ocelot Pride. Ooh, Quantum Riddler. We can start there. 1 and 2, there's Warp. Draw a card. Another Mockingbird. Yelp. That's the City's Blessing. Fetch. Undra. Mockingbird. Ocelot Pride. Yeah. Just savagely ran my opponent over there. GG's. So if my opponent's build has the 1 ring, that might make this slightly different from last round, where some things like Force of Negation and Consigned to Memory are going to have a different value. I could consider Stony Silence as well. Not this stuff. So I think last round, my strategy was board out those for other pieces of interaction. I think that's going to be Solitude in and probably 2 of these cards, and then I can think about whether or not I want to get rid of Momo. Answers 1 ring cleanly for 1 mana, answers 1 ring even if it's already in play, answers 1 ring for 0 mana. This is what I am currently debating. I think answer 1 ring for 0 mana. There's a lot of times on turns 1 and 2 where my mana is just kind of spoken for. And a lot of times Quantum Riddlers and Aangs and Sink into Stupors are just expendable. I don't know that I am excited about this hand. If my opponent shoves an initiative creature, I do not have an answer to that. I think I will mulligan this one. Feel much safer with a Swords or Solitude in the opener. This is turn 1 Ocelot Pride, turn 2 Phelia, turn 3 Quantum Riddler, with the lands to do it. I also don't have creature interaction. I don't know that I want to go to 5. I think I will keep this and hope that things improve a little bit. The faster my opponent's hand, the worse this is. That's an Armageddon. I know that art. Actual, factual Armageddon. Oh, you have Ocelot Pride. Okay. Well, Force of Negation is here for Armageddon, apparently. So I will play my own Ocelot Pride. No, I can't Force a Negation. It's my own turn. Shit. Alright. Yeah, okay. 8 that for me. I take 1 here, which means that Ocelot Pride starts to do its thing. Triggers with Guide of Souls. Opponent has 1 energy as of right now. Hope there's no timeline where I want to hardcast Force of Negation next turn. Ancient Tomb. Alright, everybody is coming to party, which hopefully means that Phelia can block and kill one of these. Do you have removal? I probably have to Force of Negation it if you do. Yeah. And then hope to draw something good. I think Guide of Souls is scarier than the Ocelot Pride. I don't want my opponent's stuff to fly. I can blink out cat tokens as of right now. I just let my opponent have those. That's a little weird, but all right. Send in Phelia. There's something to this. Yeah, have a cat token. All right, opponent to 18. Chrome Mox returns. We'll see if my opponent wants to throw away a card. They do not. So this Ocelot Pride, and these tokens can't technically attack because on board I have Phelia, bounce, replay Phelia, block. Yeah, opponent sees it. They can't do anything. Now let's find something to pair with my own Phelia here. Land is not it. Other land is not it. My opponent is playing actual factual Armageddon. Maybe don't make a land drop here. I have a bunch of like Caracas Phelia nonsense lines though. Yeah, I think I do make the land drop. And I think I'm sending in. Junking a cat token. Alright, opponent just takes the hit. Seasoned Dungeoneer. That's a great top deck. Basic planes. Alright, really need a live draw here. Thank you, deck. Very cool. I think I am playing the land drops for the aforementioned reasons. Now Phelia can't attack into Seasoned Dungeoneer. I could Phelia blink their Seasoned Dungeoneer and see how that goes for me. This is a shame. We were doing very, very well in this game, and that Seasoned Dungeoneer has just made it that I am doing very, very poorly now. Multiple land drops plus multiple Phelia. Not quite happy with our current position. Chancellor of the Annex in the build. Yep, you got it. All right, 13. Chancellor to Graveyard, obviously. Well, maybe not obviously. My opponent has a lot of mana. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 6. That's not live anymore, specifically because I blinked it. Sink into Stupor. So I can take the initiative here. It's pretty costly to do so. All right. Let's see how my opponent deals with this. I blink cat token. Will you just block with Ocelot Pride? No. All right, so I will take the initiative. Getting a basic land out of deck. I actually do like legitimately need more mana here. I have 3 for Sink into Stupor, 1 for Phelia bounce, 2 for Phelia recast. And I'm going to end up bouncing Seasoned Dungeoneer, I think. My opponent will recast it to take the initiative, but this logs, which is fine. Blue, blue, 1. I don't know that that is a fantastic use of that. You can just recast your spell for 2 more mana, which you're probably not going to use. All right, yeah, tapped land drop. My opponent did not use that other mana. I think they gave up a Touch the Spirit Realm that they did not need to give up. All right, come on, removal spell for Seasoned Dungeoneer. It would be crazy winning this game. It doesn't take much, like a Quantum Riddler redraw could make this hand go wild. Opponent is goading Phelia. Okay. Yes. I think I just accept that. Well, we sink into Stupor Seasoned Dungeoneer again. Make my opponent recast it. Blink Ocelot Pride out of the way. Go to Lost Well myself. Try to set this up for next turn. All right. Blue, blue, 1. Send Phelia in. Blink Ocelot Pride. Take the initiative. I guess there's also the line where I just forge, but that makes bouncing Phelia weirder. I think I will just go to Lost Well. Yes. 2 mana, Quantum Riddler, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cast Solitude afterwards. Yup. Then I will drop Arid Mesa as a land and not intend to fetch with it. All right, opponent to 4. Seasoned Dungeoneer takes the initiative back. 4-1 this time. They pivoted back this way. Oh, we're doing this. All right. Phelia bounce. You have a removal. Phelia recast. Phelia block. That might just legitimately be for 1 point of life. Like, that might be where my opponent is at in terms of the margins on this game. Trinosphere. I think I'm okay since I have so many land drops. So 1, 2, 3 for Riddler, Warp. 1, 2, 3, Solitude, Pitchcast. Yeah, I'm still fine. So 3 mana, Warp, draw. Solitude plus Mystery thing. I'm going to go ahead and fetch here. I would like to leave Caracas open. Not very many lands left in deck here in terms of actual factual mana sources. Solitude for 3 mana, pitching Phelia, removing Seasoned Dungeoneer, Phelia to combat, send in Blink Skeleton token, opponent to 6. I will stash. I think I'm going to hold this land despite the fact that like there's some Quantum Riddler stuff to think about in the future. because this plus this is playing a 2-drop at some point. I'd like to dodge an initiative creature this turn. Throne of the Dead 3 would be very good. Chancellor, baby! Caracas. Okay. Catacombs is awesome. Force of Will does stuff. I attempt to go to combat. And in with Phelia. Blink out Chancellor. Opponent has to bounce this. They do. Now 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's probably better to just do Quantum Riddler and Phelia. What about Quantum Riddler, draw a blue card? Like the sound of that. Nice. Now I have Force of Will available off Treasure Token while still holding up Caracas. That seems fine. So, you come back. A 5/6 flyer. That is the One Ring. No. 1, 2, 3. Exile a blue card. Force of Will trigger. Now I will fetch for Arid Mesa. What? Where is my priority pass? I have a priority pass here. I know that I do. Why did I not get a priority pass? Wild. Okay. That's frustrating. I navigated that game so well. Alright. Opponent draws a card. Yeah, so that was Force of Will, fetch, block, deterministic lethal. Can't lose. Now, do I chump block? I think I chump block. Because I just get to do Throne of the Dead 3 then. Aang is sweet here. Yeah. Oh, right, 5/6. Doesn't actually kill this. Alright, take Chancellor out of the way. Alright, there's a hard cast Force of Will. Wasteland for Caracas as well. Okay. I think we have recovered. The One Ring also just killed my opponent one turn down the line here. They are at 1. So they draw their cards. Okay. Still win that one. Did not bungle that by not... I don't know what happened with the priority pass. I don't know if I got a double click there or what. We get the 3-2 finish that we deserved there. Didn't blow it. GG's. All right, let's wrap this one up. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Really solid. The avatar cards were actually good. Momo reducing the cost of 8 warp things was good. And even if a lot of times I board out Momo and a couple of Starfield Shepherds, I'm still left with Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride, Phelia, Mockingbird, Quantum Riddler in the main deck, and then I adjust for whatever matchup I need. And Aang being able to be a slightly awkward counterspell or bounce spell at the same time while also being a flyer that has its cost reduced by Ocelot Pride is kind of cool. The games tended to end when I cast Aang. We never got around to the Waterbend ability, I don't think. I don't think it was ever on board as something that we could do. I don't even know if I talked about that in the deck. The Waterbend 8 means pay 8 mana, but you can reduce the cost by 1 for each creature you tap. And you lose out on flying, but you gain reach and trample, as well as some potential other burst damage. Land count felt pretty good as a whole. You know, obviously you're going to have a little bit of variance, like that's Magic the Gathering. I think I'm glad that I cut down on the number of Wastelands in the deck overall. Like, there were definitely some times where we had Sink into Stupor, and that was just not a castable spell. And I did add an extra blue source into the deck. All right, I think I'm good here. Deck felt good. That was a fun way to spend a couple of hours. I'm going to go have a snack, take a little nap, and get back to editing. All right, folks, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. See ya!